Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 11 of the Moving Forward podcast. I am your host, Jacob Lothamer, and let's just get right into the NBA news. So, if you remember, last Thursday, Sean and I did a preview of Game 2, and we are very sorry for those gambling picks, which I'll get more into. There's kind of a couple of bad beats, but we'll catch up with that in a second. But the Phoenix Suns win Game 2, 118 to 110. The Suns in that game looked really, really great. The entire team, they were flowing very, very well. But Giannis looked absolutely amazing. Giannis had a 20-point quarter, which was never been done in the NBA Finals before, which was super impressive in the third quarter of Game 3. And Giannis was trying to refuse to let this team die, but the other Bucks were awful. Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday, their 2 and 3 punches were very, very, very bad. And there's just no excuse for that moving forward. They were a lot better in Game 3, which we'll talk about in a second, but in Game 2, they were absolutely awful. But yeah, they were really, really bad, and that's probably one of the main reasons why they won that game. It just felt like the Bucks were always like 5 points down, and they could never get it closer than that. They lost by 8, obviously, so it was pretty tough to see Giannis go out there and give his absolutely everything, especially on the offensive end, because he had nothing left defensively or rebounding the ball, which was one of our bets. So how does Giannis go 13 minutes into this game, 13 minutes left in the game without getting one rebound? Like, I told you guys to bet his over on rebounds, 12.5, and he had 12 with 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go in the third quarter. So he needed to get one rebound in 13.5 minutes, and he couldn't do it. It was tough. Giannis looked absolutely exhausted after giving us everything to score that 20 points. So I'm really sorry. Hey, at least you hit on either Suns money line or Suns minus 4.5. Sean and I both told you to take those, so that was a pair. But the the under also missed. So hey, maybe DraftKings was actually onto something. So the Suns, this going into this weekend, took a 2-0 lead. But on Sunday, last night, we saw the Bucks absolutely kill the Suns in this game. The Bucks came out. They looked energized. They were really playing behind the home crowd. It really is a thing that role players play better at home. Bryn Forbes had a better game. Bobby Portis had a better game. Pat Connaughton had a better game. So it was really, really good games from them. Which makes me ask the question: is the Suns bench just as bad as the Bucks? Like, I think the Bucks bench is really bad, but the Suns without Dario Saric, who is their probably third best player off the bench, he's not even that great. And then Campaign played a pretty bad game, but at least you have Cameron Johnson. So it's like if you had to weigh the Bucks bench or the Suns bench, like you have Campaign, Cameron Johnson, Dario Saric against Bobby Portis, Bryn Forbes, Connaughton. I'd probably take the 3 for the Suns, but now that there's no Saric, it's pretty tough. Torrey Craig isn't as good as Dario Saric, and Cameron Johnson's the best player on all the benches, which is crazy to say because I don't even think Cameron Johnson's that great of a player to begin with. But I don't know what it's been the last couple games, but Booker isn't really looking like himself. Like, there was a time during the fourth quarter where they were down by 20 with 11 minutes left to go, and Monty Williams was just kind of talking to him and didn't get him in the game, and it was super confusing. Like, are you going to try to win this game? Like, a comeback is still possible here. Don't, just give up. So that was really frustrating for me, and that was super disappointing as far as the Suns half, but I guess if you're wanting to save him, but you get 3 days rest, you don't play again until Wednesday. So it didn't make much sense not playing him in that moment, so I was pretty confused there. But Giannis is absolutely dominating anybody who hasn't named DeAndre Ayton. And when DeAndre Ayton is in there, if Giannis can get him into foul trouble, then the Suns are not the same team. Like, DeAndre Ayton had a really, really great first quarter last night, but then he could hardly play the rest of the game because he was in such bad foul trouble. And then I also think Monty Williams did a bad job playing him when he was in foul trouble. Like, eventually at some point, like, if he fouls out, he fouls out. Like, if he has 4 fouls, like, he's the only reason why your team's staying relevant in this game. You have to play him. So, like, they needed to just commit to either really trying to win this game or letting it go. And it seemed they just kind of, let it go, which is pretty sad, but they did just kind of let it go. Better games from Jrue Holiday. Chris Middleton still not as much, but a better game from Jrue Holiday. He hit a couple open threes, which is super good for them. So Jrue Holiday did play better. Chris Middleton still not as much. He's trying to still find his way. They do have a lot of wings to throw at Chris Middleton, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Jay Crowder occasionally. So they do have a lot of guys to throw at Chris Middleton. So it is not an easy score, but yeah. Moving on to Game 4 is an absolutely must-win for the Bucks. Game 4 is one of the most pivotal games in the NBA, like a 2-1 lead. You either go tie it 2-2, and it could be anybody's series, or it's 3-1, and it's basically over. So this is an absolutely must-win for the Bucks. I think after seeing the first 3 games, I think this is anybody's game, and I'm super excited to watch it. So I have no idea who's going to win this game. If I had to take a prediction, I think the Phoenix Suns end up winning this game. I think that Giannis has just been giving it his all way too much, and I just think he's going to fall short of what he's been doing, unless Chris Middleton can really step it up. But we haven't seen that so far this playoffs, except for the first game, where they lost by a lot. So Chris Middleton would have to step up. But this is a game the Suns can lose, but you don't want to, because it'd just be a big stab in the emotional chest to think, like, man, we have this team, we're up 2-0, and then to lose the next 2 games, like, even though they are away games, like, these are young players in the playoffs, like, you don't want to, like, drop 2 games in a row to a team, you know? So, sorry for my yawn there, but I really think this is a must-win game as far as the Bucks. But if you're the Suns, you can afford to lose, but you really don't want to. So I'm going to look forward to this game on Wednesday. It's going to be a really, really great game in Pfizer Forum again. My pick is going to be the Bucks, but it could change. I'll post some more gambling picks on Wednesday, but Sean and I are definitely going to recap this one pretty hard Thursday or Friday night. So that wraps up my 3 and 4 segments. Now I'm going to move into what I like and didn't like this week. So wait till we see it then, or wait till I'll wrap up this segment. God, this is a terrible transition. Bear with me, guys. It's a Monday. Hello, everybody. Welcome back, and we're going to be doing our love-hate of the week. Now, make sure to comment your love-hates in the video, of course, or on Twitter. Send me your love-hates of the week for the NBA. But my first, actually, love is Saddiq Bey. So if you remember a couple weeks ago, I was saying about how Isaiah Stewart and Saddiq Bey were selected onto the USA Select team to go out to Vegas and practice against the U.S. national team preparing for the Olympics in Tokyo. And I thought that was pretty freaking awesome that he got that opportunity to do it. A lot of young NBA players did it, but he actually got selected to play on the USA national team roster. Hold on, wait a minute. He's just going to be playing in their exhibition games while the players who are actually on the team finished up the NBA Finals, Devin Booker, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday. But we did see him log minutes in their first exhibition game against Nigeria. So it was a really cool moment to see a Detroit Piston. Besides, Jeremy Grant played too. So that was really cool. He had a corner 3, but it was really cool to see, like, a young Piston who we know is going to be on the team for a long time. Like, I don't know how long Jeremy Grant's going to be on the team, but see a young Piston's going to be on the team for a long time, like, get a lot of minutes there. So that was really awesome. But also transitioning into my negative is USA basketball versus Nigeria. Nigeria defeated USA basketball 90-87 in their first exhibition game. And Greg Popovich did all the things like, hey, it's a good thing we lost this one so we don't lose one later on, and show, like, we can lose to teams, but, like, how do you lose to Nigeria? Like, I get that they have some decent NBA players on their team. I know they have Precious Achua, Gabe Vincent, KZ Apala. Like, they have some NBA guys on their team, but Jahlil Okafor, sorry. But still, like, how do you have a team full of NBA players and you're losing to them? Like, it just makes me go back and, like, see, like, players, like, why is Kevin Love on this team? Like, the bigs are already so, like, limited on this team, but, like, Kevin Love was awful. I think he played 4 to 5 minutes. Like, this is supposed to be his redemption tour after having a really bad season, and I don't even think he deserves to be on the team. Like, if you want me to have a Cavaliers big man on this team, I'd rather have Jared Allen. At least he protects the rim. Like, what does Kevin Love give you anymore? Like, so Kevin Love's just further proving that I think his career in the NBA is coming to an end, at least as a star player, or maybe even a starter. Maybe he's got, like, a Blake Griffin resurgence in him, but I really don't see it. And then there's so much talent on this team. It's like, I wish that this team had, like, a point guard who actually, like, facilitated the basketball. Like, no offense to Dame Lillard or anything, who I think is a great player, but, like, does he really make the other, like, great players around him better? And I don't think he does. I think he's such a good player by himself, but I don't think he makes other players great. So that's my hot take of the day, is I don't think Damian Lillard makes players around him better. So, sorry, Dame, but this team really needs a guy like a John Stockton or a Steve Nash that just mostly passes the ball. Like, this team would actually be perfect with Chris Paul, but he's not going to be on the team. So there's just not a whole lot of pass-first point guards left in the NBA, and that's kind of sad to see. But Hopefully the USA does a lot better. They play again tonight in their second exhibition game, and I'm hoping to see some minutes from Saddiq Bey and Jeremy Grant, but they need to get a win. It'd be embarrassing if they lost 2 games in this entire tournament, not just exhibitions. So, wrapping that up, you'll hear me talk about the Orlando Magic. You heard me talk about them last week with the number 5 pick. I said Jonathan Kuminga. Now, moving forward, we have the 8th overall selection after Sean and I talked about what could be 6 and 7. So now I'm going to break down what the Orlando Magic do with their traded pick from the Chicago Bulls with the 8th pick overall in the 2021 NBA Draft. Stay tuned. The Orlando Magic have 2 first-round picks, 2 picks in the top 8 of the 2021 NBA Draft, and this is due for them trading Vučević over to the Bulls halfway through the season, and they got back their first-round pick protected outside of the top 4. It fell out, so the Orlando Magic get a second pick in this draft to try to hit on the right player. If you remembered last week, I said they should take Jonathan Kuminga, who's kind of a makeshift guard, a good guy to play defense next to Jonathan Isaac, but also a really talented scorer with really nice raw potential that I could see really play out for them. So, with this 8th pick, I think they need to go somewhere else with it. So, they traded this pick. They have a whole lot of guard depth, and they have 2 centers. So, you know it's not going to be a center. They have Mo Bamba. They also have Wendell Carter-Williams. They're from the same draft. So, they're going to have to make a decision soon on which one they're going to pay after next season ends, on which one they want to keep around and which one they want to let go, depending on the money. So they have 2 centers. You know it's not going to be them. As far as point guards, they have paid Markelle Fultz long term. I think they paid him like 4 years, $72 million extension. So he'll be around for a long time. You also have Cole Anthony, who showed a lot of promise last year as a rookie, and you also have another rookie in R.J. Hampton, who's more of a shooting guard, kind of ish, that could work for you moving forward, but he's more of a shooting guard, not really a point guard. So we could get into a possible shooting guard with this selection, but give it a second. But as far as the wings, they have Chuma Okeke, who is a second year or a third year player, but was a rookie last season because of an ACL injury, who is a rookie out of Auburn, who's a really talented stretch the floor, shorter power forward, but really built guy who can play well for you. You have Jonathan Isaac coming back from his ACL tear, who will be full strength next year, missed majority of this year. And then you also have Terrence Ross, who's kind of a wing shooting guard combo. And then, like I said, you'll also be taking probably a forward with that first pick. And I'd have to guess that it would be either Scotty Barnes, who I selected with the 6th pick for the Thunder, or 5th overall, which would be Jonathan Kuminga, who is also a very talented defensive and offensive scoring player, unlike Scotty Barnes, who is more of a defensive threat. So with this pick, when I'm looking at players that could possibly go in this realm, I start to look towards shooting guard possibly. I also start to look towards forward a little bit. You might try to want to hit on forward twice in this draft, which is really interesting idea. So if you try to hit on forward twice, that gives you 2 chances to maybe see if you have a chance with one of them, like if Kuminga doesn't work out. But I don't think that you go for that. I think there's just too many holes on this team to fill, and I don't think it's point guard, and I don't think it is also center. So if you think about it, I think that the first player that they should go with, obviously Jonathan Kuminga, then after that, shooting guard Keon Johnson. So Keon Johnson is a player who is multi-dimensional. He was really good at Tennessee for a team that was only subpar. He could get to the basket. He can shoot. He was really, really good. And I really liked what he could do, but his shooting numbers do need to improve, especially in the NBA, but he was a very good finisher around the rim, and his mid-range game was really, really nice. I'd have to really, if I had a comp for him going into this NBA draft, it'd be a CJ McCollum type. To the fact where his first couple years in the league, he might not be the best three-point shooter, but I could see it develop over time, which could be really, really good. So the kind of him, I like what he does attacking the rim, not as much as a shot creator, but can get you good shots. If you want more of a shot creator, you can go with the smaller 2 guard in James Bouknight from Connecticut. So Bouknight was a really good playmaking guard out of UConn last year. They led the Huskies to a first-round loss in the NCAA tournament, but he was probably the reason why the team was even relevant in the first place. Really, really talented player out of UConn. The same problem, though, as Keon Johnson. He's not really the best shooter. So he was a decent mid-range shooter. He could knock down the three occasionally, but he did only hit 29% of threes in his sophomore season, and he was which is way down from his first year. So you would think he would improve from his freshman year to his sophomore season, but his freshman year shot 34%. This year shot 29%. So drops a whole 5%, and then you're going to move the three-point line even further back. That has me questioning whether or not he really has NBA range. So only time will tell. A lot of people saying Booknight is doing a really good job. He sways a lot in draft boards, like really high, really low, like late teens, and then is like a top 10 pick. So I think going for him at 8 is kind of a reach. I like Keon Johnson here. If the Magic try to trade this pick and move down, maybe Booknight there. But for me, I think it's Keon Johnson who just gives me a little bit more, and I think it has a more promising NBA future. So with that, with the 8th overall pick, I'll have the Orlando Magic selecting Keon Johnson, the 6'5" guard out of Tennessee. I also like Johnson because he gives you a little bit more height, a more versatile player. So that's another reason. So thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Moving Forward podcast, our Monday edition. You'll catch Sean and I on either Thursday or Friday, and we will be breaking down Game 4, the pivotal Game 4 that will basically decide this series. Will the series be over soon, or will we have a 2-game battle for the last 3 games? And, I'm really looking forward to it. Personally, I just want more NBA basketball, but I can see where some people just want the Suns. My prediction for that game, I said the Suns, so we'll see what happens. We will break down the 9th and 10th selection in the draft, which I believe is the Kings and Pelicans, possibly. I think it's the Kings and the Pelicans. So you'll hear us talk about who we should take there. 2 dumpster fires of a team. So we'll see what's going on there. As far as this, we're another week closer to the NBA draft, and the Pistons are 1 week closer to drafting Cade Cunningham, number 1 overall. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Peace out.